Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. It keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know from pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
Thank you for listening to the GSMC Music Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown, the music lover constantly seeking positive music. Now let's get into some music news. Green Day's Oh Yeah hits the top 10 of Billboard's Alternative Songs Airplay chart. With The Climb, the trio moves to within one of the record of the most top 10s in chart history. Oh Yeah makes it 24 top 10s for Green Day, tying Foo Fighters for the second most top 10s since the survey began in 1988. Red Hot Chili Peppers leads with 25. So the list goes like this. Red Hot Chili Peppers have 25, Foo Fighters 24, Green Day 24, U2 23, Pearl Jam 19, Linkin Park 17, The Offspring 17, The Smashing Pumpkins 17, Weezer 17, and Muse 16. Now, Tame the Impala's Slow Rush album becomes the band's first #1 on Billboard's Top Rock Albums chart. London rapper Dave performed at the 2020 Brit Awards last week and killed his politically charged song Black as the camera projected 3D images of prison bars and newspaper headlines onto his piano's surface. Now, this was the dopest performance I have ever seen. It was a double-sided grand piano. David starts off playing while words and images are displayed on top of the piano. Then a second pianist comes and accompanies him on the other side of the piano while Dave stops playing and spits politically charged lyrics, which were bold AF. The performance at the O2 came to a climax when the 21-year-old artist, real name David Omoregie, it's Omoregie, stepped up from his piano stool and launched into a newly written freestyle verse that saw him call Prime Minister Boris Johnson a real racist. Like I said, bold AF. Pay tribute to London Bridge terror attack victim Jack Merritt and strike out at the British establishment for its treatment of Meghan Markle. The O2 audience gave Dave, who is a classically trained pianist, a standing ovation. His Brits performance has since been viewed more than 2 million times on YouTube, drawing widespread praise for both the artist and his groundbreaking production design. Damn, like for sure, that was groundbreaking. Like I said, that's what made it the best performance, because I had never seen any production design like that before. I definitely suggest viewing the performance. I have never heard of Dude before this, but I salute him, and we'll have to check out more of his music. It's just crazy how Across the Pond has a slew of artists most Americans don't know about, but they know about our artists. Nick Jonas made his voice debut, and he trash-talked John Legend and Blake Shelton. He won over another singer by duetting with him, and rumor has it that the Jonas Brothers have a new album coming this year. Makes sense, because The Voice is the perfect way to promote a project. The end of Eminem's Juice WRLD collab Godzilla features one of the most impressive raps to date. He raps 224 words in just 31 seconds, according to Genius. And on Tuesday, M wanted to see how many fans could keep up. The rapper called on his followers to partake in the Godzilla challenge, and his fans pulled up for the challenge. Check out the hashtag Godzilla challenge to hear some of those fans do their thing. Now, Kelly Clarkson and Garth Brooks were named host and icon, respectively, for the 2020 Billboard Music Awards. The Billboard Music Awards aren't for another couple of months, but it's already set to be star-studded thanks to the pair of announcements. Kelly Clarkson will resume her duties as MC for the 3rd year in a row. She's like Alicia Keys. Alicia's hosting things multiple times. We got Kelly from artist to host. And Garth Brooks will be honored as this year's icon. Brooks, a 19-time BBMA winner, will also deliver a hit-filled performance during the show, which will air live from Las Vegas on April 29th on NBC. Taylor Swift does drag for the official video for The Man. The video follows a belligerent corporate titan as he man-spreads on a subway train, pounds shots with bros, and loses his temper on a tennis court. Making her solo directorial debut with The Man, Swift also starred in the video. But Swifties may not have realized it until the very end when it's revealed that she was indeed The Man. And The Man has a voice at the end because The Man talks to Taylor Swift. So it does kind of look like you wouldn't suspect that's Taylor Swift under there. And the voice, I'm like, that voice sounds familiar. It was The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. And then at the very end, when they're doing the credits, you can see the makeup transformation from Taylor to The Man. It's pretty cool. Might want to check that video out. The ACM nominations arrive Thursday morning with Maureen Morris, Thomas Rhett, Old Dominion, and star producer Dan Huff leading the pack with 5 nominees each week. That's the American Country Music Awards, in case you didn't catch that by me naming all these country artists. Blake Shelton, Dan and Shay, and Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber? You know, country. Okay, wait. This is ACM is American Country Music, right? What the heck is Justin Bieber doing up in here? Follow close behind with 4 noms each, both earning nods for Songs of the Year. Shelton for God's Country, Dan and Shay. Oh, and Bieber for their hit collab, 10,000 Hours. Okay, got it. That makes sense. Duh. So Keith Urban, the reigning ACM Entertainer of the Year winner, was also announced as the host for this year's show, which will air live from Las Vegas on April 5th on CBS. Get it, Keith? Lady Gaga is back. She returned on Friday with a new single titled Stupid Love, the first taste of her forthcoming 6th album, currently unnamed but dubbed LG6 by Gaga herself. Lady Gaga also unveiled the intergalactic video for Stupid Love, in which the singer portrays a pink-haired extraterrestrial beauty seeking love. After Justin Bieber's Seasons docuseries gave a sneak peek of Bieber in the studio recording a Spanish-language song titled La Bamba in episode 3, a new video surfaced of Bieber busting some dance moves and singing Spanish while filming what appears to be a music video for the track, even though it didn't make the final cut for his just-released Changes album. According to TMZ, J Balvin is featured on La Bamba, which sources tell Billboard will not be on Balvin's forthcoming album titled Colors either. So it's looking like a standalone song for now. BTS took over late night TV on the heels of their big Map of the Soul 7 release on February 21st. BTS took over both The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon and The Late Show with James Corden this week. First, the K-pop phenomenons joined Fallon for a tour of New York City that included Subway Olympics, serving pastrami at the famous Katz's Deli, and a performance on at the Grand Central Station. Then BTS jetted to Los Angeles, where they drove around with James Corden for a hit-filled carpool karaoke, which was Bruno Mars approved. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back with a little bit more music news and some tour news as well.
always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
All right. Well, we are back. Thank you for listening to the GSMC Music Podcast. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown. I have one more news story I wanted to get in. It was kind of long, so I saved it for the top of segment 2. But Normani from Fifth Harmony is speaking out about Camila Cabello's past racist comments. The Motivation singer, who graces the cover of Rolling Stone, addressed the resurfaced post from her former Fifth Harmony bandmate, which included racist slurs and memes. So all this is new to me. I'm too grown to follow girl and boy pop groups. So until I read this article, I didn't even know that Camellia came from Fifth Harmony. See, I don't even really know how to say her name. So yeah, I didn't know she came from Fifth Harmony. I just saw her Grammy performance and her singing to her dad, and I thought she was incredible. And I figured she just came out of nowhere. But after that, I started seeing her doing stuff with just various stuff. I can't even think of artists right now. It was the British dude with the red hair, and oh my gosh. Anyways, I've seen her featured in a lot of stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, she's having her moment, but I had no idea where she came from. Now I know. So I did a deep dive into the internets, and I read all the tweets and Tumblrs from when she was like 12 or 14 years old. And it was hella disturbing. Now at 22, she blames it on being young and not knowing the history behind the N-word, which I might add looked like it was a major part of her vocabulary among the text messages with her close friends. I mean, it's kind of shady that those text messages came out, so I don't know how close she really was to them girls. But I mean, she was dropping the N-word left and right. It was definitely a part of her vocabulary. And to a certain extent, I can kind of see how if you're super young and you're listening to music and you're following, hip hop artists, and black folks, we can use the N-word as much as we want, right? And we use it all the time. So I can kind of see how some people may think that, oh, it's cool without totally knowing the history. But at the same time, I don't get it. I don't, because it's just like a well-known fact that's not, and also the fact that she wasn't using that word freely outside of her group of people, right? So she knew that wasn't something that was acceptable, that she knew that people will find that disrespectful. Otherwise she would openly use the word. And then on top of that, it wasn't just her use of the N-words that was disturbing. It was the memes with stereotypical references of black people loving fried chicken. I mean, there was a meme of a white basketball player. It was a chick, and a black girl trying to steal what would have been a ball from the white girl, right? But the white girl has a box of KFC chicken, right? And she's just holding it away from the black chick, right? Now, I mean, that was stupid, black folks. We don't even be eating KFC like that. At least have like some Popeyes or something. But, so it was all kinds of memes like that. There was one of, Piglet from Winnie the Pooh, but like Piglet in blackface, and it said Niglet. And like she's having like smiley face emojis and putting captions and, commenting on the stuff. So she had, it was like Asian people jokes about their language. It was just, it just went on and on and on and on. And I was once a teenager, and we didn't have social media the way it is. We had chat rooms. But even then, like, I was bright enough to know that stuff was just wrong. And teenagers around me were bright enough to know that stuff was just wrong. unless they were outright racist. I did go to a junior high that was predominantly white, and that was the first time I ever heard a white person flat out blatantly just call somebody a nigger, which was like one of my closest friends, and he definitely beat that ass. But that white boy said it because he knew it was cruel. And he didn't say it to his face. He was like miles away trying to yell it. So, yeah. So it don't matter if you're how old you are. You know that's wrong. And Camila, whatever her name is, the girl ain't white. She got brown skin. Her last name indicates that she's some sort of Hispanic, some sort of Latina. So she know better. But let's not talk about her. Let's focus on how stunning my beautiful dark-skinned sister Normandy looked on the cover of Rolling Stone. And you can go ahead and check out that article. So let's move on to tours and festival news. So the Lumineers started their North American leg of their world tour last week. They will perform across the continent through September. NCT 127 announced a major U.S. tour. The K-pop group will play 6 North American shows in June, starting at New York City's iconic Madison Square Garden before hitting Atlanta, Chicago, San Jose, Los Angeles, and Seattle. Now, Green Day cancels their Asian tour. The veteran punk band announced in a statement that they'd be moving their upcoming Asian tour due to concerns about the coronavirus. The statement or the tweet says, "We know it sucks, as we were looking forward to seeing you all, but hold on to your tickets. We'll be announcing the new dates very soon." Now, yesterday, New Order said they'd be putting their shows in Japan on hold due to the outbreak. Additionally, Disneyland Tokyo is closing for a few weeks, and the Summer Olympics in Japan could be impacted as well. Now on to the top 10 songs played in the U.S. according to Apple Music. Still at number 1 is Rowdy Rich the Box. Young Boy Never Broke Again. Lil Top is back at number 2. Number 3 is still Future featuring Drake, Life is Good. Number 4, Young Boy Never Broke Again, got the boot. And Rowdy Rich's High Fashion slid from number 5 to number 4. Number 5, Boogie with a Hoodie featuring Rowdy Rich Numbers. Number 6, Lil Baby, Something to Prove. And number 7, Young Boy, Never Broke Again, Red Eye. Number 8, The Weeknd again with Blinding Lights. Number 9, Justin Bieber, Intentions. Number 10, Young Boy with Fine by Time. Now let's compare that to the top 10 songs played globally according to Apple Music. Rowdy Rich the Box sits at number 1 in the US and globally still. Number 2, The Weeknd, Blinding Lights. Number 3, Future, Life is Good. Number 4, Justin Bieber, Intentions featuring Quavo. Number 5, Young Boy, Lil Top. Number 5 is Young Boy, Lil Top. Number 6, Rowdy Rich featuring Mustard High Fashion. Number 7, Tones Is I. Dance Monkey. Number 8, look, A Boogie with a Hoodie. Number 9, The Weeknd, After Hours. Number 10, Justin Bieber, Yummy. Now, what have I been jamming? I finally listened to late rapper Pop Smoke, and I'm mad impressed with the young boy's music. I mean, he really had a future in this industry. I saw an interview he did with Apple Music shortly before his death. He was talking about his 2020 goals and one of them becoming a millionaire. He had a specific number. It was like 823 million. And then he said he stopped making music. And that could have happened to the young rapper. I also just saw an interview with Angie Martinez literally like days before his death as well. And that was a fun interview. You know, Angie Martinez is dope at what she does. So he always, he talks about how he's not much of a talker. He hates doing interviews, but because of, you know, the fame that he had recently gotten, he had to start opening up because people want to know about him. So there was kind of like a drastic difference between the Apple Music interview, which was really short. It was like maybe 17 minutes. The Angie Martinez is a little around 30 minutes. But she got him to open up and feel really comfortable. It was fun. She was doing impressions of his voice because, you know, I said he has like this tone, and she would try to do it, you know, hold up, wait, the woo. Welcome to the woo. She would do it, and he would say things with her. She would like joke about how, you know, he could have a great voiceover future, not only doing animation, but like ways. And then he really got into it and had fun with it. Like, hold up, wait, turn left, make a U-turn. It was a fun interview. It's just, man, he was 20 years old, said he started rapping when he was 18. So just 2 years prior. He put out Welcome to the Woo. He had no features or anything. And people just, like artists, just started, you know, plugging him and jumping on his songs. And he said he has made hella music with Quavo. They're like in a vault somewhere. I don't know if we're ever going to see that music now. He said he had a love song coming out on Valentine's Day. I don't know if that happened. Actually, let me check my Apple Music. He said he had a movie that he recently made. He had a cool part in it. He basically was just saying he had a lot of stuff coming. And I don't know now if we're ever going to see that. And it doesn't look like anything dropped on Valentine's Day. So yeah, it's really sad. But the styles of his beats, his tone, his flow, it was all fire. When it came to Welcome to the Woo 2, there are some bangers, but to keep it real, the sound does get a bit repetitive. So it made it kind of hard to point out the standouts. The songs do get a bit repetitive, so it made it kind of hard to do the standouts. But I was digging Invincible, Shake the Room featuring Quavo, Foreigner with Boogie with a Hoodie, Mannequin, Lil TJ, Dreaming, and Dior. It's really sad that his life was taken and that he was so young and in the early stages of his career. We're going to go ahead, take a break, and return with music history with Keith Urban.
Searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Music Podcast. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown. Now, let's get into music history with Keith Urban, according to allmusic.com. Born in New Zealand and raised in nearby Australia, Keith Urban made his biggest splash in Nashville, where he helped rewrite the rules of contemporary country music. By embracing drum loops and elements of top 10 pop, Urban wrote songs that appealed to a wide audience, effectively satisfying his Nashville fans without alienating those more accustomed to pop music. He also became a genuine celebrity, known for his good looks, his marriage to Nicole Kidman, and his outspoken battle with alcoholism. Even so, it was the music that maintained Urban's career. From his work with The Ranch during the late 90s to the acclaimed solo albums that followed. Keith Urban began learning guitar as a 6-year-old. His father, the owner of a local convenience store, agreed to hang a guitar teacher's flyer in his shop window in exchange for free lessons. The lessons went to his son, who demonstrated a natural talent on the instrument and won several talent competitions while still in elementary school. Urban grew comfortable on stage, and he worked on his singing and acting abilities as a member of the Westfield Super Juniors, a local theater company. Meanwhile, he took a cue from his father, who had a deep interest in American culture and country music, by gravitating towards the work of Glenn Campbell, Dolly Parton, Don Williams, and Jimmy Webb, all of whom inspired his early attempts at songwriting. Urban added his own dimension to those influences when he discovered Dire Straits and became interested in the fretwork of Mark Knopfler, which led to in-depth study of Knopfler's technique. Australian country music was primed for a revolution at the start of the 90s, and Urban, young, brash, and blonde, who had a flavor saver, might I add, with a guitar style that owed heavily to rock and roll, was part of that transformation. After signing with the Australian branch of EMI Records, he issued his first album and scored several #1 hits in his home country. Even so, Urban's sights remained set on Nashville, Tennessee, which he considered to be the birthplace of the music he loved. Having already taken trips to Nashville to forge his career bridges, he soon decided to base himself in the city. His Australian bandmate and drummer Pete Clark also came along, and the two formed The Ranch during their first few months in America. Although their original bass player returned to Australia, West Virginian Jerry Flowers quickly stepped in. The Ranch's music was raw and rowdy, more indicative of Australian pub rock than Nashville country scene. Nevertheless, the band netted a record deal with Capitol Nashville and a management contract with Miles Copeland, who had previously managed the Police. The group's debut album, The Ranch, was released to moderate acclaim in 1997, but Urban was forced to take a break when he developed throat problems, and The Ranch disbanded soon after. While Urban remained on vocal rest, other artists called upon him to play guitar on their records. Garth Brooks asked Urban to perform on Double Live. The Dixie Chicks invited him to play on their second album. That's dope. And that's cool. I featured both Garth Brooks and the Dixie Chicks in our music history. All right. Learn something new every day. But the Dixie Chicks invited him to play on their second album, which featured a reworked version of Some Days You Gotta Dance, a song that also appeared on The Ranch's debut. And Matt Rollings, one of Nashville's top producers, hired Urban as a session player for his own album. The two quickly clicked. Impressed with Rollings' knowledge of Nashville's seasoned players, Urban asked him to produce his next solo record. Released in 1999, the self-titled Keith Urban spawned 4 hit singles and paved the way for his successful career in America. A tour in support of that album saw Urban opening for major acts like Dwight Yoakam, Faith Hill, and Tim McGraw, as well as headlining his own shows. Urban found more success with 2020's Golden Road, which set 3 singles to the top of the country charts and went triple platinum in the U.S., as well as 2004's Be Here, which bested the feats of its predecessor by selling over 4 million copies. Keith Urban was now a contemporary country superstar, replete with Grammy nominations and paparazzi attention, and his label capitalized on that attention by reissuing The Ranch's debut album later that year. An anthology of Urban's work, Day Go By, followed in 2005. The next year, Urban continued to attract media attention with his highly publicized engagement and June marriage to fellow Australian Nicole Kidman, plus his voluntary entry into a rehab center for alcohol abuse. He postponed his upcoming promotional appearance while in treatment, although the album Love, Pain, and the Whole Crazy Thing was released in November as scheduled. It failed to produce a #1 hit, the first of Urban's solo albums not to do so. But Love, Pain, and the Whole Crazy Thing still went double platinum in America, aided in part by a successful tour with Carrie Underwood. Following the birth of his and Kidman's first child, a daughter, Urban, returned to the top of the charts in 2008 with a re-recorded version of You Look Good in My Shirt, which had originally appeared on 2002's Golden Road. The new version appeared on his latest compilation record, Greatest Hits, and its success helped pave the way for Urban's next solo album. Released in 2009, Defying Gravity found him singing about life with Kidman on songs like Sweet Thing and Only You Can Love Me This Way, both of which peaked at number 1. Meanwhile, Kiss a Girl became his highest charting single to date, the pop charts, and 2 additional tunes, Till Summer Comes Around and I'm In, both charted well in the country market, making Defying Gravity a crossover success. Nearly 3 years had passed between the release of Love, Pain, and the Whole Crazy Thing and Defying Gravity. Urban worked quickly on his next album, though releasing Get Closer during the final months of 2010 and returning to the charts with his lead single, Put You in a Song. That year, he and Kidman had a second child, another daughter, via surrogate. In 2011, Urban returned to Australia to appear as a judge on the first season of that country version of The Voice, though he did not return for a second, instead returning to Nashville. In addition to commencing work on his 8th album, Urban was invited to become a member of the Grand Ole Opry by Vince Gill in April 2012. He accepted and was inducted later that month. Has anyone declined? Why would he decline? In September, he joined American Idol as a judge. Urban continued to work on his album despite all this activity. Inspired to create something new, he worked with producer Nathan Chapman to add subtitle funk and hip-hop elements to his country pop sound. The Rustling album Fuse was released in September 2013. Fuse spawned 5 top 10 Billboard country singles, the pre-release Shame, the Miranda Lambert duet We Were Us, Cop Car, Somewhere in My Car, and the Eric Church duet Rise 'Em Up. These singles charted into 2015, which is when John Cougar, John Dury, John 316, the first taste of his 9th album appeared in the summer. John Cougar, John Dury, John 316 peaked at number 2 on Billboard country sales and airplay charts, and 2 other singles, Break on Me and Wasted Time, followed before the full-length Ripcord appeared in May of 2016. Topping the country charts, Ripcord also yielded the Grammy-nominated hit single Blue Ain't Your Color. Urban returned in November 2017 with the empowering single Female, inspired by the Me Too movement. Female was the first taste from Graffiti You, an electronic-influenced album arriving April 2018. Subsequent singles and country radio hit Coming Home with Julia Michaels also pushed Urban toward the top 10 on the U.S. singles chart, just a year after the release of Graffiti You. Urban launched his next era with the singles Burden and the Eric Church penned We Were. And as I reported in music news, Keith Urban will have the Entertainer of the Year and will also host this year's show. So for the ACM. So, yeah, pretty dope. Honestly, I don't know much about Keith Urban, so this was a good history lesson for me. I just knew him as Nicole Kidman's husband, and that it was just unique for him to be like this huge country music star, and he's, a New Zealander who was raised in Australia. So that was cool for me to learn, and I hope for you as well. And as always, I thank you for listening to the GSMC Music Podcast. Until next time, I'm Gaelika Brown, the music lover constantly seeking positive music.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.